Hi there, my name's Steve Lidford and I set up this YouTube channel to talk about change, leadership, strategy, you know, that sort of thing. So I decided to just bring my camera with me when I take my dogs for a walk in this glorious but honestly often quite f***ing wet Welsh countryside and just give you a few of my thoughts and share a few of my experiences. I do have a tendency to waffle and rant a bit, but hopefully you find it entertaining and hopefully educational and perhaps thought-provoking. One of the biggest subjects I want to talk about is how we manage change and how it doesn't have to be outright bloody chaos. Change is just one of those things that you need to learn to deal with in any modern business. We need to constantly change to stay competitive, and because we change, our competitors are forced to change, and the cycle goes on until there's no such thing as business as usual. In fact, you think we'd be pretty bloody good at it by now, but in my experience, that's just simply not the case. Now, people have been studying change and the effect it has on people and organisations for years. In fact, as far back as 1947, Lewin identified his 3 stages of change. He called stage 1 the unfreezing stage. This is where we need to create the motivation for the change. This is particularly interesting and perhaps the most important stage. 2 major forces seem to really hit people at this stage. The first of those is learning anxiety. This is where people are afraid of failing or afraid of being exposed. The second is a kind of survivor's anxiety around the pressure to change, and it can take many forms. Actually, Edgar Schein did some research around this in the 90s and identified 4 key fears in this stage. The first of these is the fear of temporary incompetence, and this is the conscious fear that we just don't know what we need to do. This is a short-lived stage generally, and it passes as we realise that everybody else is in the same boat and we begin to learn a little bit more. The second is the fear of punishment, and this is where we just worry that someone's going to find out that we don't actually know what we're doing and we're going to lose out or be punished in some way. He also talks about the fear of loss of personal identity, and this is where all the kind of habitual ways of working that we've gathered over time become of no use to us anymore. There is a massive foxhole or something there, and I'm just hoping that nothing's going to come out and give me a nasty surprise. Lastly, he talks about the loss of group identity, and this is our fear that the team and the group of people that we work with is going to become unstable and may possibly disintegrate. With all these fears present within our team members, it's really important as leaders that we work to allay them and to sympathise. Once the unfreezing stage is over, we move on to the second stage, which is the move or the change stage. This is where the action happens. This is where the change actually occurs. There's often a lot of new concepts here and new meanings for old concepts. So as leaders, at this stage, it's really important that we set up a safe environment for people to fail occasionally without repercussion. If people get punished for making mistakes, then their only recourse is to stop innovating and to stop looking for new solutions. The last stage in Lewin's model is the refreezing, and this is where we need to work to internalise the new concepts and incorporate them into our ways of working. By this point, the change has already happened, so this stage is really, really easy to miss. But if we skip the refreezing stage, it simply means that our teams are going to slip back into their old ways of working and effectively undo some of that change that we've worked so hard to accomplish. But doing this is kind of like blowing up a balloon and then forgetting to tie a knot in the end. A lot of blowing of hot air and perhaps the odd dizzy spell, but nothing to show for it at the end, except perhaps an embarrassing raspberry and the feeling that you never want to do it again. Anyway, that's enough for today. I'll talk about this a lot more in some of the future videos I've got planned. So if this kind of thing is interesting to you, please do hit the like button and consider subscribing, and remember to ring the notification bell so that you know when I next upload a video. And I'd be really interested to know if you recognise any of the fears that I've talked about in this video and what you've done to mitigate them. So leave a comment below and we can all learn something from each other. That's it for today. Thanks for watching.